Hi, this is Sherry Schreiber of GettingBetter.com, and I've got a little tool for you today that I think is really going to come in handy during the rest of the course of your life. I never had a client in my consulting practice who was comfortable saying no. I never had a client who when asked a question by somebody, was comfortable not answering that question. These are both byproducts of poor self-worth, of course, which we were here to rectify. But I'm going to share a tool with you today that's going to make this a lot easier. In other words, I don't want you ever feeling like you're a deer in the headlights and like you must answer a question asked of you, no matter what it is. So, and I'm going to try and provide an example of this to you during the course of this video, maybe more than one example. So what you want to do, I call this the deer in the headlights tool, or putting it back in somebody's lap tool. You can call it what you wish. I'm just here to teach you how to save yourself some embarrassment or discomfort up ahead. So over the years, I got to a place where I wanted to rectify this issue for me. I never wanted to feel compelled to answer somebody's question that I didn't want to answer for whatever reasons. It made me uncomfortable for whatever reasons. I didn't want to answer it. So I learned to say, when someone asked me a question that I didn't want to answer, why do you think that's important for you to know? And I'd put it right back in their lap. Now, this happened to me years ago. Went out with a fella a couple times. Thankfully, never went to bed with him. I think that would have been a real train wreck. And we're heading out for dinner one night. This is our first or second date. And he said to me as he's driving to our destination, he said, "So how many clients do you see in a week?" Now, back then, I wouldn't say I had a thriving practice. So this brought up a little feeling of discomfort, maybe even shame for me to have to answer that question to anybody. And the more I sat with that for a second or two, the more I felt like, well, what's really his motivation? Is he trying to discern how much money I make? Weekly, monthly, yearly? I mean, what's really behind that question? So how many clients do you see in a week? And there's a part of me that's thinking it's none of your damn business. So I replied to him, why do you think that's important for you to know? And of course, his predictable reply was, and response was, well, I was just curious. He was making small talk because he didn't know how else to fill the space. He had nothing important inside of him to share with me. He didn't really want to know me, get to know me intimately. He wasn't concerned about anything important about me. This was just small talk. This was filling the gap in the conversation. And there are a lot of people on the planet that do this crap. A lot of people. They get uncomfortable, they get nervous, they feel awkward with silences. They think they have to fill up that void somehow with chatter. or inane questions that really show their own ignorance and their own social ineptitude. Small talk. I'm not a small talk person. Never have been, never will be. Just not in my makeup. Not part of my DNA. Can't go there. Another one of my favorite questions. And I'm being facetious here. Is so. A lot of guys ask me this during my dating career. So, what do you like to do for fun? And because I'm a bit of a smartass, and I've probably always been a shit disturber, troublemaker, I figured out a clever way to answer that. Now, I could have said, why do you think that's important for you to know? And put it back on their lap. But because I'm a smartass, I got kind of smarmy and sarcastic, and I would say, well, honestly, I sit around for hours on end trying to think of clever ways, snappy comebacks to answer people who ask that question. And left it at that. Small talk. Small talk comes from small minds, my dears. Nobody with decent gray matter between their ears and who's connected to self in healthy, nourishing, friendly ways does this crap. If somebody's doing this crap with you and you're a reasonably well-baked person, you're more fully baked than not, it's going to irritate you. Don't brush that aside. They're showing you who they are. They're giving you a gift. They're letting you know there's nothing going on inside of me. I have no inner life of my own. I'm used to performing, people pleasing, focusing on everybody else and what they're feeling and needing. But there's nobody living inside of me. I'm a house that if you drive by my house, the lights are on, but nobody's home inside. That's who they are. So think carefully and thoroughly about whether or not you want to explore something further with that individual. They're insecure. Can't handle silences. I've had this happen while working with clients. They got to fill up every little crevice with chatter. So I teach them how to tolerate silences. Or at least that's what I did while I was working. Why is it important for you to know? Why do you think that's important for you to know? Put it right back in their lap. Years and years ago, man, it was while I was working with this client when I was volunteering at the LA Free Clinic while I was in school. My time as a counselor there. And had this fellow, he was Middle Eastern, but he had been influenced by society's very negative view of people from his country. So when anybody was curious about his nationality, his heritage, he felt like a deer in the headlights. He didn't know how to answer their question. Where are you really from? Where's your family from? What's your nationality? Oh God, he dreaded that. Dreaded it, poor thing. So I gave him this nifty little tool. I said, here's how you deal with it. You turn to that person, you say, why do you think that's important for you to know? Oh, I was just curious. And then it's dropped. You put it back on their lap. Okay? Don't ever allow yourself to feel like a deer in the headlights. It's nobody's freaking business to ask you things you don't want to answer for whatever reasons. You don't need a good excuse. You don't need a reason. If there's a feeling that comes up in your body that goes, I really don't want to answer this. This makes me uncomfortable. Don't answer it. Put it back in their lap. Can't tell you how many clients I've worked with just didn't know how to say no. Didn't know how to say no ever. Didn't know how to not force themselves to answer a question they didn't want to answer. So tuck this away. I'm sure this will come in handy. And I really hope you get a lot of use out of it. Practice it. Do dress rehearsals in your bathroom mirror. Why do you think that's important for you to know? Don't engage in small talk. Don't ever answer a question you really don't feel comfortable answering to anyone for any reason. Goodbye for now.